Good evening and welcome to Ridgecrest Talk, the Thursday night edition. I'm Al Huey along with my partner, Robert Eierman, and we're here with Council Member Jim Sanders joining us again tonight. Thanks, Jim.
Hey, thanks
Appreciate
for having
it.
me. Thank you. It's good to be on.
We had you on last week.
Yeah.
We were talking about the budget issue the city is facing and dealing with. But prior to that meeting, where they got the bombshell about the budget, we had another interesting meeting where it was proposed, I don't think by Peggy, but she is the representative for the city on the League of California Cities.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
So she was the middle person to deliver to the city, city council, this proposal that cities get on board with this state proposed legislation to increase taxes for streets, bridges, because they're in such poor condition. Everybody knows that, you know. And that was an interesting meeting because I liked it when we got to the end of it and the mayor asked for motion, and you looked across the council and everybody's kind of
I'm gonna do it.
I was so pleased that you were on my definition of the right side relative to that. Other council members who, when Councilman Maurer said, "I'm going to have to agree with Mr. Eierman," I practically fell out of my chair. But
we all did.
So it was nice that the council did what I think was the proper representation of the citizens of Ridgecrest, because the way they phrased this, which I really give them credit for, and of course now I lost, oh there we are, a resolution urging the state to provide new sustainable funding for state and local transportation. And that's just a way to hide the fact that, I mean, the state has no funding other than what they get in taxes, but they avoid using the word taxes.
Tax increase.
Yeah, tax increase. Yeah. And what was really interesting, once in a while, we go to the mayor's meeting on Monday before the media meeting on Monday before the council meeting, and it was revealed to us that the first approach on this was that it was going to be on the consent calendar. And I don't know why they decided to take it off consent and put it
as a separate agenda item.
Separate agenda item. But I many times am not complimentary of the council, but this is one time when I have to be very complimentary for what the council did and how they analyzed this and how they approached it. And one of the things that I brought up then, and we've talked a little bit off air about, and that's that it seems to me that the League of California Cities doesn't really fit how the city of Ridgecrest and the citizens of Ridgecrest think, and that generally the county of Kern, how Orange County thinks. I think that this is an organization that's dominated by, to put it bluntly, tax and spenders.
You know, I would disagree with you there. Generally, I think they do represent the city's interest, the people of Ridgecrest, their interest. I think this is an exception to that, which is why we voted against it. But what they're really about is local control, bringing more local control from the state to the local governments, and protecting the local governments from the state in a lot of ways. So they've done some great things in the past that's helped out the city, that's fought the state in a lot of different ways. And when you're dealing with local control, you almost have to be kind of conservative in nature, because that's really where conservatism goes. It's reducing power.
Well, I would
from high
argue
up.
you need to be conservative from local on up to federal. I
Yeah.
think that's why
Well, I
we
agree.
have
I agree.
these 17 candidates running for president right now in the GOP, and the one that's raising all the ruckus is talking conservative,
Yeah.
you know? And people are fed up with their governments
Yeah.
being so progressive and liberal.
Right. Right. But if something has to be, if something doesn't have to be regulated, you're right. We should get rid of that regulation altogether. But if there is something that needs to be regulated, if there is something that needs to be managed by government, it's best to do it at the lowest level possible, because that's where the people have the most control over their representatives to make changes in their representatives, and to get them to do what they need done. So,
But
so
speaking specifically of this proposal that the league brought to the city to increase funding, taxes,
right.
for streets and bridges, the state had funding for that.
Yeah.
They robbed the bank,
That's
as
right.
they do in a lot of cases up there in Sacramento.
Yeah.
I can give you an instant right now. I headed out of town this last weekend, and on 395, before you head up to Randsburg, the hill there,
Mm-hmm.
there's been this pothole in the middle of the road there, I swear, for darn near 10 years, and has got no attention. I mean, it's a pretty good sized pothole. They have funding to address those kind of things.
Yeah,
They're
they do.
not doing it.
Right. And yet
Mr.
there's so much
Mauer
waste
brought up
in
what
other
they did on
places.
395 between Kramer Junction and Adelanto,
That's right.
where they said they were going to widen the road because the traffic, trucks particularly, can slow down flow of traffic in between that area.
Yeah, going uphill.
And they made it worse. They took away passing lanes. The hill right out of Kramer Junction used to have a passing lane so you could get around those trucks going up the hill.
Yeah.
They took it away.
I know. It's complete backwards of what they should have done.
Yeah.
And we
So-
want to give these people more money. I don't think so.
No, and this is where I think the league went wrong. You know, they shouldn't have backed this thing. They should have known the history of the state to not keep their word in terms of funding. So.
Well, we're up against a break again.
Already?
As usual, already, yes. So join us on the other side of the break where we continue this conversation with Councilman Jim Sanders. And welcome back to segment 2 of Ridgecrest Talk. I'm Robert Eierman along with Al Huey and our special guest tonight, Councilman Jim Sanders. And we were discussing the League of California Cities. And so based upon what you've said, this position taken by the League, you would consider an outlier then? Or
Yeah, in my experience it is.
Okay.
They've done a lot of things to fight for local control in city governments. So
well,
They didn't in 2011.
Yeah. Do you think that is there somebody new that took over the league?
well, they have new leadership. Yeah, I mean it's an elected leadership, so it
Okay.
changes quite often.
So,
But I mean, I
because
would-
clearly this was so antithetical to what you're saying that they support local control.
And to some degree, I understand what they were trying to do, though I think it was wrong. But I think they were trying to send a message to the state saying, look, we have a serious problem, let's address it, let's get something done. And they were appealing to both sides of the House and the Assembly and Senate. So
Wow.
I don't think that was right, because I don't think we can trust their word on new revenue. If we raise revenue for street projects, that's not going to stay in just street projects, I don't think.
Well, and I
History
would
has taught us that.
I would completely agree with you. Were it that there wasn't a whole opposite side put out by the Republicans in Sacramento that provided the same amount of money, but through different ways that didn't require increased taxes.
Right.
And so maybe the problem is that the leadership, new leadership of the League of California Cities is where the problem is. Because I saw what they asked as completely the wrong direction. Plus, it gave the California legislature such great cover, because if they go ahead and do this, they simply say, "Oh, see, it wasn't us.
Yeah.
It was all the cities around the state that they're the ones that told us to do this, and they have complete cover from the situation." So I just thought that this was so outlandish that the league would propose this. That, well, as I said at the council meeting, that clearly it's been taken over by socialists.
Yeah.
Well, and I, it's a lobbyist group that, and for those that don't know, every city in the league has a vote on what happens in the league. We go to these league meetings, and
every city that is a member.
That is a member, yes. And so literally, the city of Ridgecrest, Mayor Breeden will go there and she'll cast a vote on behalf of the city of Ridgecrest.
And so membership is not free.
No,
it's not. You have to pay.
That's exactly right.
We're not certain exactly what the amount is. I heard sometime back the city pays around $5,000 to be a member. Other cities, I don't know what they base it on, but here in 2011, I think it was Garden Grove, to be a member, they were paying $28,000.
Yeah, I think it's based on population, but
it probably
I can't
is.
Remember. Off the top of my head.
But when you say every city has a vote, that's kind of like going to New York City as a conservative and saying, "Well, I got my vote." Yeah, but you're going to be outvoted, and when there's so many liberal-leaning communities, cities in California, that what difference does it make if you have a vote? That's
Well, in what I've seen is there are a lot of liberal cities in California, and you go to these meetings and there are a lot of very liberal members of the meetings and the committees and things like that. But when your goal is local control, sometimes, not always, but a lot of times, we do find common ground, and it's not about conservative versus liberal in those meetings. It's about what's going to give the cities the most control, and typically, what I've found is that goal is a right-leaning goal, and so things do end up being more conservative generally. Like I said, this is what I've seen as an aberration. I don't think that's not typical.
Well,
what happens.
in a way, that's nice to hear. Part of me doesn't believe it a bit, but it is nice to hear that that's been your experience
I brought
in
up
the past.
2011, and in 2011, an article here that Garden Grove dropped out of the League of California Cities, and it was in big part, the league was supporting SB 347, or they were wanting the cities to get behind it and support it. And that was when the state reallocated how they were going to fund local governments.
Okay.
Or readjusted, modified, and essentially robbed cities of local funding that they had gotten previously. And at the same time, in Orange County, there were 22 cities that quit the league because of that. And so, maybe it ought to be a point of discussion on the council, or some council members, along with our representative, which is Mayor Peggy Breeden. She's the representative for the city on the League of California Cities, to attend an upcoming League of California Cities and say, why did you guys do this?
September. We're going in September.
Oh, so good.
I'm actually going on her behalf, so I'll be the representative for the city.
And that would be a question to ask them, to bring back to the community,
Absolutely.
Do you aware what's going on with the economy these days? The people are being taxed already.
That's right.
And you can't trust them, even though in their proposed legislation, they said, well, they have to guarantee that they won't touch this.
Yeah, and that's
been in previous.
And that's where I've found the fault with a lot of the league's things is you know, they try really hard to work well with the state legislators and with the state government. They try to be on good terms, because if you're not on good terms, the state just they don't listen to you at all, right? So there's a balancing act there of getting them to listen to you and kind of getting sucked into what they're doing. So
yeah, I see.
I think this is one where they kind of were off balance.
What I found fascinating, and it's no ding on Mayor Breeden or City Manager Dennis Spear, but they were so nonchalant about this, as if this was, I mean, absolutely
business as usual,
intuitively obvious. Of course, we want to do this, and I go, and fortunately, Al and I were there at that meeting, and let's put it this way: we made the meeting interesting.
You did. You did.
So,
speaking of interesting,
yes,
we unfortunately or fortunately need to take a break to pay the bills here. So join us on the other side of the break. We'll be back. You're listening to Ridgecrest Talk on KZGN-TV. And welcome back to Ridgecrest Talk. I'm Al Huey, along with my partner, Robert Eierman. Our guest again tonight is Councilmember Jim Sanders, and we're talking about the League of California Cities and their proposal recently to support a tax increase, but it wasn't worded that way, like you said earlier. It was
sustainable funding.
sustainable funding.
Doesn't that sound better?
Yeah, they just go out to the backyard up there in Sacramento and pick it off the
tree.
sustainable funding tree.
Yes, there it is.
Anyway, the council at that meeting could not get a motion on to support what the League of California Cities was proposing that the cities get behind. I don't know. I have no idea how many cities have gotten on board with that.
Well,
but
yeah,
I would imagine a bunch.
Yes, and they're in special session now up in Sacramento. At least they were. I don't know when. Anyway, we'll probably get it jammed down our throat anyway.
Right.
But at least we spoke up against it.
That's right.
In an indirect way. But I wanted to get into a new proposal by our wonderful legislature up in Sacramento, and that is a bill called SB 350. And it's called the California Gas Restriction Act of 2015. De Leon is the person who introduced it.
Good conservative person, right?
Yeah, absolutely. About as conservative as Stalin. Anyway, what this act would require is a 50% reduction in petroleum, a 50% increase in renewables for electricity generation, and a 50% increase in energy efficiency of buildings by 2030. And I don't know if you have seen any of the commercials on TV that the anti-350 people have done. Yes.
They're already turning the spigot on the water down for us.
Right.
Now they want to limit how much electricity and energy we use.
Yes. And how much
Is
gas.
California going to become a third world state?
Well,
Yeah, absolutely.
and with the current policies they've already put into place, they've already eliminated several energy producing facilities that were producing good energy. I mean, coal plants, you know, a lot of them have gone away. And so we're heading into an energy crisis is what I'm afraid of.
I completely agree. And how would it be?
Buy your generator now.
Yeah.
Right.
How would it be if we started? I mean, this is going to lead, in my opinion, to gas rationing.
Yeah.
It's going to lead to fines against people who use too much.
Right.
And everybody kind of says, oh, well, this is for 2030. But the legislation includes that by 2017, the California Air Resources Board will bring forth how to accomplish this.
Yeah.
And This is going to be bad. I mean, how does somebody
That's a
who
scary
was
deal.
forced to move to Palmdale so they could work in L.A., they won't be able to get back and forth to work.
Oh, the commuters are going to hurt from this bad. Yeah. Well, and the transportation industry, I think, is going to be the worst ones.
Yes.
I mean, that's how we get food from one place to another. That's how we get goods and merchandise from one place to another, is trucking it. Right?
Right.
I mean, that's the major way we move.
But we will
things in
have
this
the
country.
super train, whatever.
Oh, that's right.
The-
That'll solve all our problems.
Yeah.
There we go.
I was thinking more along the lines of the big 18-wheeler with the huge 3 masts on it and the sails.
Oh, yeah.
But my point of this is that at the same time they want to increase the taxes and so that they can fix the roads, and they're backdooring something that you're going to be able to use less fuel. And
Well, California will be the cleanest, energy efficient state in the union.
Well, that's
all
true.
200 people that live there.
Right, because everybody else will have had to have moved.
Yeah.
That's right. That's
I mean,
right. Yeah.
I'm all for economic development here in Ridgecrest. How do you get anybody to come to California
Oh, I
to
know.
run a business?
Yeah.
That is our biggest roadblock in terms of economic development, is the fact that we are located in California.
Yeah.
Yes.
It is huge. It drives me nuts. It makes no sense. And, you know, it would be one thing if they were saying, well, we need to reduce our dependency on foreign oil or something like that, so let's look at some things. But there's a way for that to happen naturally and economically. I mean, the economy, we could innovate our way, you know, out of problems like that.
Yes.
But this is forcing the issue. It's not happening naturally. It's not happening through innovation and invention.
Mhm.
It's forcing the issue, and it's just going to hurt the economy when it's the economy that we need to solve problems
Right,
like that.
right.
So we're shooting ourselves in both feet because we're also reducing our electricity output as well.
Yeah, both
And-
feet,
yeah.
chest, neck, ear. Yeah, we're shooting ourselves all over the place. But
Yeah.
hopefully the sanity will come into place and they will vote this kind of thing down.
Yeah.
But we'll have sustainable roads by that time.
That's sustainable.
Yeah,
That's-
yeah, right. A real off-the-wall topic.
Sure.
Who's going to be the next president of the United States?
No comment there.
Well,
I don't know, to be honest. I've been.
I do.
Do you? Oh, let's
Yes,
hear it.
absolutely. Get used to saying President Trump.
Yeah. Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez.
I'm telling you. And actually, Al knows I started predicting this months ago. So this isn't anything new. This is even before he announced. I was telling Al that. So.
Do you think he'll stick through it through the elections this time?
Oh,
I mean,
absolutely.
He bailed before they even started voting last time.
No, he's never.
No, he's never ran
That's
before.
false information. He's never
officially
run before. He's
Is-
never
He
run.
never ran
2000
before.
12.
No, he did not run.
Oh, okay.
So no, and he's not going to bail. He's the leading candidate. 40% of the GOP nationally. He's over 40% now. He's leading in every state. He leads in Nevada. He leads amongst Latinos.
But as soon as they catch those people and bring them back to the home, he won't be.
Good one. That was a good one. Yeah.
All right. Is this our last segment?
Yes.
Okay. We're done.
Thanks
Jim,
for having
thanks
me
for
on.
joining
Yeah,
us again.
I
It's
appreciate it.
always
Thanks
great
again.
to have you here.
A real pleasure.
No, it was a good conversation. Thank you.
Join us next time here on Ridgecrest Talk. We'll see you. Have a great evening.